Hi, this is Dev Gosine welcoming you to the Trinidad and Tobago Internet Governance Forum 2020. This Internet Governance Forum is hosted by the Trinidad and Tobago Multi-Stakeholder Advisory Group. The theme of this year's IGF is The Internet Anew, Ensuring the Internet's Future. This year, the forum was held on the 31st of January 2020 at the Naparima College Auditorium in San Fernando, Trinidad and Tobago. Welcoming you and bringing opening remarks is our very own chair of the Trinidad and Tobago Multi-Stakeholder Advisory Group, Ajmal Nazir. He mentioned that our first IGF was in 2016. At this IGF, we have support from local, regional, and international communities, for which we are extremely grateful. We have given much importance to educate our local markets. All deliberations of previous and this IGF would contribute and have contributed to the discussions of the regional and global IGFs. The next person to bring greetings via a video message was Vincent Self. Vint prides himself as being the chief internet evangelist. He questioned, how well are we keeping our data secure regardless of where it is being stored? He also questioned, how do we protect ourselves online? He commented on the abundance of misinformation and disinformation proliferating the internet. He suggested the greater need for critical thinking to sift the truth from an environment of misinformation and disinformation. Again, bringing us greetings via a video message was Adrienne Esterhobson. Adrienne Esterhobson is the chair of the IGF Multi-Stakeholder Advisory Group. She has recently been elected. This actually is her first address as the IGF MAG chair. And she mentioned that IGFs must be committed to inclusion. IGFs provide an opportunity for persons with different experiences to work together to find solutions. She challenged the TTIGF to be a beacon to the small island states in the region to address issues such as natural disasters and the use of digital technology in sustaining economic development. She said there were 3 tracks to the 2020 Global IGF, such as data, inclusion, and trust. 2 new issues emerging as important priorities are climate change sustainability and the digital economy, how its implementation is affecting the workplace. Bringing greetings, again via a video message, was the Senator, the Honorable Alison West, Minister of Public Administration. The Honorable Minister mentioned that there's a National Development Plan 2030 which addresses ICT in the development of Trinidad and Tobago. Her mandate is to drive ICT development, modernize and transform the public service, and amplify the use of digital governance. There's a present tendency for inward spending. However, there should now be a focus on citizen spending so that the services are made easier and more efficient for citizens and businesses. There is now a trust for greater digital penetration. We now move into the panel sessions, and our first panel is Fake News and its Impact on You. Our expert panelists include Mark Lindesay, Editor, Tech News TT, and Opinion Leader, columnist from the Newsday, one of our local newspapers. We have Sergeant Daniel Hernandez, Head of Cyber and Social Media Unit, Trinidad and Tobago Police Services. We have also Asha Javid, Senior Multimedia Investigative Journalist from the Caribbean Communications Network, CCN. Also is well-known Shonan Osepa, Manager, Regional Affairs for Latin America and the Caribbean Bureau of the Internet Society, ISOC. And our moderator is our very own from the Trinidad and Tobago Multi-Stakeholder Advisory Group, Director Anita Sohan. And of course, this is a photo of our first panel in session at the Trinidad and Tobago Internet Governance Forum. I must say it was a very interesting and informative panel. These are some of the takeaways from fake news and its impact on you. Is fake news false, inaccurate, or misleading information? Is there a deliberate purpose or agenda behind the fake news? Bloggers may quote unverified information and is interpreted by the audience as true. Most popular fake news stories were widely shared on Facebook rather than mainstream news sources. Statistics show that 62% of adults in the US get their news from social media. It is evident that many persons use social media as their prime source for news. People believe what they read because they do not critically assess or fact check. Avoid fake news by using trusted sources. Fake news is never given the opportunity to get cleaned up. The internet should not be penalized for fake news. Should there be a regulatory body to oversee press coverage? Freedom of press versus personal privacy. Are there boundaries to freedom of press and or freedom of expression? This was pursued by Damian Tambini. We now move to the youth-led collaborative workshop. This was particularly interesting. The format of this session was that when the youngsters entered the auditorium, each one of them were given a little slip with a particular color. And each color, as we're seeing here, is associated with a particular topic. So white, for example, was the good, the bad, and the potential of online communities. Blue was big tech. Yellow was internet pollution. Green was encrypting data. Pink was IT for clean energy. And lastly, purple was social media and you. So the entire group, everyone, not just the youth, every single member who participated at the IGF were separated into groups. And here we have some images of the various groups. This here was group 1. And here we would have group 2. And this would have been group 3. And this would be group 4. And this would be group 5. And last but certainly not least, group 6. So what will happen is that after they deliberated on their topic, they will then have to do a presentation as seen in this particular photo. So each of the members, each of the team leaders of the particular group, an assigned, well, actually an elected, nominated, volunteered team leader will then do a presentation on their particular group. Of course, while one of the members are presenting the others are waiting for their presentation. After all the presentations that were made, a very exhaustive document was then produced, a report on the Youth Collaborative Exchange, the Future of the Internet. This is very commendable by the youth, and I'll just quickly scan through some of the stuff that was done here without actually going through the process of reading any of the things. We have the topics. Topic 1. I won't go through any of the deliberations or any of the findings. Topic 5, 6, Internet and pollution. It's not in any order. It's, I guess, how they presented. Encrypted data. We actually have their notes and so on. Details on this document could actually be found at the site TTIGF-youth. So it's a very exhaustive document, and the participation by the youth is extremely commendable. I think, like I said, this was definitely one of the highlights of the IGF. Having the youth involved and their level of participation was really, really tremendous. Our third and final panel or session for the day was data hosting. Should it be done locally or internationally? Our expert panelists include Ian Galt, General Manager, Enterprise Services of Telecommunications Services of Trinidad and Tobago Limited, Darren Mohammed, Corporate Business Manager for Caribbean and Country Representative, Microsoft Trinidad, Keenan Singh, Chief Executive Officer of Airlink Communication Limited, and our very own George Gobin, who is a Director of the Trinidad and Tobago Multi-Stakeholder Advisory Group, and George will be the moderator for this particular session. And this is the panel as they were in full session on that day. And these are some of the takeaways from their discussion. Industry has moved from central localized hosting to cloud hosting. Data residency is no longer an issue. Classified data should, however, be locally hosted. There is a need to engage the youth in this activity to prevent a brain drain. Local hosting can be billed in local currency. International hosting can provide a more cost-effective service. International hosting is more capable in data security and meeting international standards.
We cannot overemphasize the multi-stakeholder aspect of the Trinidad and Tobago IGF. This is very important, and it stemmed from the whole formation of the Trinidad and Tobago Multi-Stakeholder Advisory Committee, because it's always better when you have a diversity of views contributing to discussions. You have representatives from government, you have representatives from business, you have representatives from the academic community, from end users, from the technical community. When you have all of these players in the room, whatever decision or policy position you end up with has far more legitimacy if one of these players was excluded. So the Trinidad and Tobago Internet Governance Forum is a very important activity, particularly from the perspective of multi-stakeholderism and inclusion of diverse perspectives and diverse backgrounds and views.
Yes, I agree with Albert. And if we just take a look, for example, at the internet itself, it all started with collaboration. So the model that we're using nowadays is all about collaboration. And I think we should use that same model to make, for example, things better in our own communities as well.
Okay, and I see I'm getting a very hard look, a stern look from Tracy. So we really want to thank our viewers for this opportunity of listening to what we had to say. But congratulations, Tracy. Congratulations, TTMAG, for this very important event.
Again, it has been a pleasure, honor to be in Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you.
Let me take this opportunity to invite you all to our Trinidad and Tobago Internet Governance Forum 2021, which will be held on Friday, the 29th of January, 2021. Thank you all very much for viewing.